Coming up on Valley News Live at 6, details on a man on the run after he cut off a monitoring bracelet.
Making ready for Friday when Derek Chauvin learns his sentence.
And an update on the search for all of those parakeets released last week. Valley News Live at 6 starts right now.
This is Valley News Live at 6.
The hunt is on tonight for a Valley City high-risk sex offender who officials say cut his ankle monitor off last Friday and has been on the run ever since.
42-year-old Leslie Allery is convicted of sex crimes against a teenage girl out of Burleigh County, that's in Bismarck, in early 2020 and is a lifetime offender. Valley News Team's crime and safety reporter Bailey Hurley joins us live now with why the state says nobody was notified until days later, and has an exclusive interview with Allery's neighbor. Bailey?
Yeah, Mike, if it weren't for the Valley City Police Chief taking it upon himself to notify the public of Allery's escape today, we might still not have known, as the North Dakota Department of Corrections says they do not issue news releases when someone escapes supervision. But now tell me the department will be discussing potential protocol changes. Now, the department says when officials found out Allery cut off his GPS monitor last Friday morning, they filed an arrest warrant and contacted both the victim and law enforcement where the victim lives, saying police have increased patrols and are on the lookout for him in that area. Now, the Department of Corrections says Allery's criminal history is primarily in North Dakota and anticipate he will remain in the state or nearby. Now, I went to Allery's apartment today in the 200 block of 3rd Street Southeast in Valley City and spoke with Allery's neighbor Tim Radke, who says he's concerned as Allery's phone is off and he left nothing behind.
And they went up there and all that, and his apartment was empty and moved out. It was gone, and nobody, and they've been trying to call him and get a hold of him, and nobody's able to get a hold of him.
Now, Allery is convicted of asking a teen girl to give him a pair of her underwear and writing explicit and crude letters to her, as well as for asking her to perform oral sex on him. When asked how likely it is that Allery will reoffend, the Department of Corrections' only response to me was, quote, "We are actively searching for him." Mike.
Bailey, and the Department of Corrections says that they are following leads and say they will issue a release if the community is in imminent danger. The department says in the past year there have been 118 investigations, which have resulted in 34 people being located.
A cooler start to the week for sure, and it sounds like we might be dealing with those temps again tomorrow. Let's find out from Hutch what to expect on this Monday night. Hutch?
Andrea, thanks so much. Good evening. Hello, everyone. It's been a cooler day. Northwest winds blowing, and take a look at these temperatures where you see the greens here. Some 50s from Badette down through Bemidji, and that extends into Thief River and Roseau as well. The rest of the area in the 60s until we get all the way to the south and west to Aberdeen, where they are enjoying 73 degrees. More sunshine southwest. That helps warm things up a little bit. Northwest flow causing some fair weather cumulus clouds, a couple of sprinkles showing up in northwest Minnesota. Most of our area staying dry with the exception of that Lake of the Woods area. Tonight, that wind will settle down a little bit outside once we get beyond sunset. We'll clear out for many areas overnight. There'll be a chance for some spotty showers as well. I'll have details on that, and warmer, more summer-like weather does return as well. I'll have details on that and our next chance of rain here, Mike, in just a few moments.
Looking forward to that. Thanks, Hutch.
Former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin is set to be sentenced Friday afternoon for the murder of George Floyd.
His attorney filed a motion seeking a lesser sentence, even as low as probation, while prosecutors filed a motion seeking a 30-year sentence. Charmaine Nero has the latest.
George Floyd's murder prompted outcry across the country. Now, more than 2 months after former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin was convicted, many are preparing for his sentencing this Friday afternoon.
What's been happening in the last 2 months is that both lawyers have written memos about what they think the sentencing should be.
Mary Moriarty is a former chief public defender for Hennepin County who has followed this case since the beginning. She says recently Chauvin's attorney filed a motion seeking a lesser sentence, even as low as probation, while prosecutors filed a motion seeking a 30-year sentence.
The top of the box, which is the maximum that Judge Cahill could give without aggravating factors, would be 180 months. It's important for people to know that we are what is called a guidelines state. That means sentencing has to happen within a particular grid. unless there are aggravating factors.
Recently, Judge Peter Cahill ruled there were 4 aggravating factors in Floyd's murder that would allow for Chauvin to face more time behind bars.
He's probably read some cases as well to see what comparative sentences are out there. He may be looking at former Officer Knorr. The fact that he has found aggravating factors means that he can sentence Chauvin up to 30 years.
Former Minneapolis police officer Muhammad Noor was sentenced by a Minnesota judge to 12.5 years in prison for the fatal shooting of a woman while responding to her 911 call. But while Chauvin and the 3 other officers involved were indicted on federal civil rights charges last month, people across the world are standing by and tuning in.
Chauvin also faces federal civil rights charges in Floyd's death. The other 3 former officers involved in Floyd's death face state and federal charges.
A man is in jail for stealing dozens of golf carts in 7 states, including North Dakota, Minnesota, and South Dakota. And now the FBI is looking for people who may have bought those stolen carts. Nathan Nelson is linked to 63 golf cart thefts. Some of the places hit were Maple River Golf Course in Mapleton, Hillcrest Golf Club in Jamestown, and All Season Motorsports in West Fargo. The FBI says the value of the stolen golf carts is more than $283,000. If you think you may have purchased a stolen golf cart, call the FBI's Fargo office, 232-7241.
Plans for the Cass County Jail expansion are moving slightly ahead of schedule. Once done, workspace will be doubled along with housing capabilities within the booking area. Officials say the project is scheduled in 2 phases, with the first phase set to be completed by November.
We're excited about it, and definitely will help with public safety in our community.
The construction bid is more than $4.7 million. It's set to be completed by next June.
Plans are underway to again work on a busy stretch of South Fargo. It's part of the continuing upgrade of 32nd Avenue South, east of I-94. Need to be worked on. What's being talked about is replacing the pavement and improving the sight lines for drivers, basically making it much safer. Also upgrading pipes that run underneath the road, which are too small. Keep in mind that work won't begin until next year. The city is hoping to have plans approved by around Thanksgiving from their bids in the spring, with work to be done next road construction season. The estimated cost will be $8.5 million, and that's paid for through federal highway dollars.
A local bird rescue is still searching for nearly 80 parakeets released into the wild last week. The Center for Avian Adoption in West Fargo says a budgie was found over the weekend near the sugar beet plant in Fargo. He's alive but in tough shape. Officials say that 4 other parakeets were found dead. 21 budgies and several newly hatched baby birds were brought to the shelter on June 16th. Now, if you see one, you can catch them by putting on a towel or butterfly net over them.
North Dakota Human Services is offering help to families with children who have autism spectrum disorder. The department is accepting applications for vouchers to help pay for caregivers, assistive technology, safety equipment, caregiver training, and other support services. Families with children diagnosed with autism from ages 3 to 17 qualify for the program. A family's household income also cannot exceed 200% of the federal poverty level to qualify. Families will be accepted on a first-come, first-served basis.
North Dakota is building up its renewable energy sector, and today state, business, and industry leaders discussed how it's creating workforce and supply chain opportunities. Federal labor statistics show 31% of the state's energy comes from renewable resources, putting it 5th in the nation. Wind and solar technicians are 2 of the fastest growing jobs nationwide, and North Dakota, with more than $10 billion of clean energy project in the works, is poised to become a leader in new development.
Naturally, we had the Bakken boom and a ton of infrastructure came in for oil and gas, but now we're starting to see market demand and ESG requirements, as well as just new discoveries, innovative discoveries, augment that growth. Everything ranging from blue hydrogen to gas to liquids conversions to corn to jet fuel.
The North Dakota Department of Commerce projects that the state will be the first carbon neutral state in the country by 2030, thanks in large part to the development of Project Tundra.
Up next on Valley News Live at 6. If you're looking forward to a vacation, we have some sound advice that could wind up saving you money.
Drought conditions are nasty in central and western parts of North Dakota, not quite as bad across Minnesota, and recent rains in the last 36 hours, right where we needed it most, around Lake Sakakawea and right here in the Red River Valley. Some possible improvement to that. In fact, we're over 3 inches for the month of June thus far in Fargo. Your forecast has a few more drops detailed next.